right. Well, what's up, y'all? It's Maddie McConnell with The Horizon, and we're back with another episode of The Golden Hour. And today I have a very special guest to my left, Luke Bosso, the athletic director of IU Indianapolis. Luke, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. So I know you do have a little unique path to college athletics. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, so different than a lot. However, I did work in sports in high school and college.
Okay,
I worked over the Indianapolis Indians and learned a lot from Bob and Jeremy Martin and Randy Lewandowski. But then I was in the political sphere prior to becoming athletic director and in the business world too. Worked in economic development for the city of Indianapolis, and then was lucky enough to work for two governors. And it was great. I tell people all the time, politics has shaped my life in a good way. I wouldn't have gotten a lot of experience I did without working in that world. And I also tell people not a big difference between politics and athletics at this time going on.
Going from that, not a big difference. So what are some big transferable skills that you took from politics to athletics?
Yeah, you're always trying to get a constituent base you're trying to win over, right? Whether it's alums or student athletes. If you want to lose. Right? So, so that part. And I think one thing that I try to bring here, I'm from Indianapolis. I love working here, but I try to make the city and state better every day. Our population is a lot smaller than when I worked for the governor, 268 student athletes. But I believe that if we can build a winning program here and really get a lot of involvement from our student body, from our student athletes, that they'll be prideful about the city and be prideful about the state and really go about, trying to make a difference in their everyday lives.
No, I definitely think that's the way to go. You said trying to make the city better. I know there's a couple new additions coming to campus and the city of Indianapolis. Can you talk about those?
Yeah, I tell our student athletes all the time we want to win in three places, in the classroom, in the community, and competition. And from a community standpoint, we have a really big addition coming, the James T. Morris Arena, the gym, as it's named after a great philanthropist, Jim Morris, who was great to me. One of the first people I called when I thought about taking this job. But 4,100 multi-purpose venue that we'll have right on the edge of campus, right outside the NCAA, that will be home to our men's and women's basketball team and our volleyball team, but also more importantly, another asset for downtown Indianapolis. It'll give the Sports Corp opportunity to host events on our campus. It'll give the campus opportunity to host more events on campus. Military Park's always busy with different events, so we hope a lot of people use it. And, we're excited for it to come online about a year from now, which is, it's going to be great. And it adds to Michael A. Carroll Stadium, adds to the natatorium, adds to NIFS. We're excited to have it, and I think it's it's long overdue for us to get a on-campus venue, and couldn't be more excited to drive by it every day and see the process that's happening.
No, I think the community is definitely excited for it too, to get not only just sports but Jaguars basketball back on the map. So it's very exciting to make that happen. Switching gears a little bit, ultimately, what keeps Luke going? What wakes you up in the morning? Maybe keep you up at night. But ultimately, you've only been here for a few years. Yeah. But what's the future look like?
Yeah, I mean, the first part that keeps you going is I get to do this in my hometown. I'm just a kid from Indianapolis that gets to take on the opportunity to lead the Division I public institution athletic program in its hometown. That gets me excited every day. I love competition. I love knowing that I get to make the city a better place. I love our student athletes. Love being around them. And what keeps you up at night is the same things, right? Right. I think our team here will tell you and I've gotten better in the 2.5 years, but constantly thinking of ideas, constantly thinking of ways to be different. There's just not as many people in downtown Indianapolis as there were prior to the pandemic, and we've changed how we live our lives, right? But I don't think we've changed how we do athletics. And, you see we've changed start times to some of our events to try to draw more people to come to games. We're doing different giveaways. We're trying to be more involved in the community. Jag Jump Off that we started doing when we first got here, downtown, community service projects. And, really the big thing that keeps you up at night is I know if I can get people on this campus, they'll come back a second time.
There you go.
It's just getting here that first time. We set an attendance record for volleyball last year. We 3 times our ticket sales. So people are taking notice, but I think about every day how we're going to fill a 4,100 person venue next year when it comes to playing basketball. So, those are just a few things. When I'm alone in my thoughts, it's a dangerous place, but it's been a lot of fun thinking through how we continue to build this.
No, that gives me chills thinking about it. Being an alum from this institution, but seeing where it's going is, exciting to see. But as far as speaking of alum or future alum, is there any advice that you'd love to give to the student athletes now? Maybe just a student at IU Indianapolis, students in the Horizon League. Any advice if they want to get in that college athletics sphere? They don't always have to start in athletics to get there, but any advice there?
Yeah, I mean, be noticeable, right? There's a lot of people that want to work in sports, right? And you start breaking down the numbers between the professional leagues, between Division I. There's only so many opportunities, and everybody wants to work in sports. That's what I tell people all the time. It's everybody wants to work in sports, so they figure out what it is, right? It's an event management business that centers around athletic events. I talk to students a lot about getting involved, whether it's in athletics, whether it's other things, and I ask them what they're doing, right? If you live in Indianapolis, there should be no reason why you shouldn't be volunteering at the sports corp, right? Yeah. You should be involved in every event doing that. There seems to be some type of race or something every weekend here. Obviously, we're the greatest spectacle in racing every the month of May and everything going on at the track. But you have to be noticeable. You have to have people. You have to know people's names. You have to be curious. When I was younger, and I've said this before in other interviews, I used to just find people's emails in the city and send them emails and say, like, hey, do you want to meet? And it led me to meet a lot of really cool people, but also led me to realize there's some people that were never going to meet with me. But, I think one of the cool things for me in this job was day one, I had people call me and say, hey, we want to be helpful to you. And that only happens because I spent, a lot of my adult life being involved in the city. I'm lucky enough to be on our Indianapolis Zoo board. I was on our state chamber board. But all that started because I got involved with the zoo with their young professionals group. Started with the chamber because I was involved, with the Indy chamber and then involved in the state chamber. Nobody's going to do it for you. Yeah. And if you're not willing to go out and put in the work, I tell people all the time, my career path has been right place, right time, hard work, and a little bit of luck. And, if people are taking notice of you, good things are going to happen.
No, that's great. They always say that you're 7 people away from the people you need to know, but I think athletics makes that number just a little bit smaller especially in Indianapolis, the community that we've built here. But kudos to you for, taking charge of that.
One thing I will say on that, when I worked in politics and I would get around people, everyone wanted to talk about politics. Now that I work in athletics, when I run everybody, all they want to do is talk about athletics, right? Like everyone wants to ask about NIL. They want to ask about the current state. They want to ask about, who's who. Have you paid attention to this roster move? Have you seen these things? Do this different things? And it's funny. Some days I wish I could just go back to talking politics, right? Because so many people ask about athletics. But that's the fun part about this job is that everybody wants to know what's going on, and we use this as an opportunity. It's like, oh, you want to see what's going on? We have a game Thursday. Like,
there we go.
Bring your family down to the game. Let me show you what's going on in the collegiate space. And it's been a great way to get people to come here. Yeah.
Before we head into our last segment, you did say something as far as the changing landscape of college athletics, and I think that's ultimately not new to you because politics is definitely changing a lot. So. Any advice for fellow ADs or fellow, your peers as far as how to navigate this space, knowing that you've been in some type of a space like this before?
Yeah, I tell people I don't know any different, right? This is 2.5 years ago. I think when I took this job, I had a feeling things were going to change. I didn't realize they were going to change so rapidly. I think the thing I remind people is this isn't the first industry that's been disrupted, right? How we handle it moving forward is going to really figure out what athletics is going to look like at the collegiate level for the next 20 years. The conversation about, P4 being, the equity conversation, all those different things, it's never been equal, right? Yeah. I mean, those groups have had advantages over us for a long time. I just think we have to embrace it, right? You have to embrace the change. You have to embrace looking for different revenue options. You have to embrace that student athletes are interested in different things these days. We hope it doesn't always play the way we want it to. We want our student athletes to become young entrepreneurs, right? Like I always tell people, if I were in college and I had the opportunity to go do a camp or be able to do stuff around my name, image, and likeness, like who knows where my life would be today? Who knows if I would be working? I would have had a lot of fun with it. And I think, as athletic directors, we have to embrace letting the student athletes do those different things. I think as coaches have to embrace letting student athletes live out loud. You know, it cracks me up when I'm places and coaches are like, well, you know, I don't want the student athletes dancing for the game or doing TikToks. And I'm like, why? Like, right. Like now there's a time and place. I wouldn't want them to do it after we lose a game. But if you're doing it before a game and people are getting eyeballs on your student athletes and on your institution, like that is a win. Sure. And, you know, we just have to embrace the change, even though, you know, we don't know what the change is going to look like.
Oh, that's a perfect spot to end at. Embrace the change. Mm-hmm. That's that nugget for today, y'all. But we always end our golden hours with a start bench cut.
Okay.
So are you ready for this?
I'm sure.
This is definitely Indy themed because, you know, Indy is known for hosting prominent events. And so I got 3 of them for you. Okay. So first would be Indy 500. Okay. A couple months ago, we hosted the WNBA All-Star. Okay. And then we'll host the men's Final Four. So wow. Start bench cut.
Okay. This is, well, I will tell you the start is easy for me. Indy 500. Okay. You know, greatest spectacle in racing, greatest single-day sporting event in the world. You go the first 10 laps of the 500, last 10 laps of the 500, I would challenge you. It's the greatest sporting event you've ever been to. And they've been great to me. Doug Bowles, Mark Miles have been absolutely great to me in this role. So number one. Gosh, all right, so start, bench, cut. I will say the WNBA All-Star Game was awesome.
It was.
The activations, everything involved with it was fantastic. The weather was great.
Just because he cuts does not mean he doesn't love the event.
Yeah, I mean, okay, I think we're definitely gonna have to bench the NCAA Final Four. Great partners, right? We're right next to NCAA. Great economic impact.
Smart man, right?
Can happen a lot. Mm-hmm. And we're going to cut the WNBA All-Star Game just because it's already happened. And the chances of it coming back as quickly as the Final Four, slim to none. But I will also bench right next to the men's Final Four, the women's Final Four, since that is coming in town. And, you know, we're big supporters of that. So really mine would just be start, play, cut, and that's where we would end right there.
There we go. Yeah. A little twist. Ain't nothing wrong with that. But Luke, this has been great. Appreciate you taking the time with us, and hope to, you know, be in partnership with you soon. So
great. Thanks. Go Jags.